5 years earlier, I accepted a long-term engineering contract overseas. Before leaving, I locked the ranch, secured every deed, and believed my family's land would be waiting exactly as I left it. I had no idea those 5 years would change everything. Throughout the years, I paid every property tax on time and renewed my insurance without fail. I never imagined anyone would question the ownership of land that had belonged to my family for generations. The paperwork remained safely stored while I worked abroad. When my contract finally ended, I couldn't wait to return home. The familiar desert highway brought back childhood memories as I drove toward the ranch. I expected quiet fences and open land, not surprises. As I turned onto the ranch road, I noticed something strange. A brand-new gated entrance stood where my old cattle gate used to be. A polished HOA sign welcomed residents to Sun Mesa Estates. Beyond the gate stood a beautiful custom-built home, sitting exactly where my family's western pasture once stretched across the desert. My excitement disappeared instantly. Someone had built on my land while I was gone. I parked my truck outside the gate and walked toward the entrance. Before I could reach my own driveway, a private security guard stepped forward and politely told me the community was for residents only. I calmly replied that the land beneath his feet belonged to me. The guard looked confused and called the HOA office. Within minutes, several board members arrived in luxury SUVs, followed by HOA President Melissa Grant. She confidently introduced herself and claimed the neighborhood had owned the property for years. I asked Melissa to show me the recorded deed proving the HOA owned the land. She confidently opened her binder, but only produced subdivision maps that stopped well short of my ranch boundary. She quickly changed the subject. Instead of arguing, I drove straight to the county recorder's office. Original land patents, tax records, and survey maps still listed every acre under my family's name. Nothing had changed except the buildings now standing on it. The county clerk quietly admitted that questions about the property boundaries had surfaced years earlier. Several neighboring landowners had raised concerns, but no formal challenge had ever reached the courts. Everyone assumed the owner would never return. The next morning, I hired a licensed surveying company to inspect the entire property. Their crew unloaded GPS equipment and compared the original deeds with modern satellite coordinates. The lead surveyor smiled before saying, "We're about to answer every question." Over 3 days, the survey team uncovered original steel boundary markers buried beneath years of sand and brush. Every measurement matched my family's recorded deeds with remarkable accuracy. The luxury home sat well inside my property line. When the final survey arrived, I immediately contacted an experienced property rights attorney. She reviewed the evidence and explained that the documentation strongly supported my ownership claim. Her advice was simple: proceed carefully and let the evidence lead. Together, we sent a formal legal notice requesting that construction cease on the disputed parcel while ownership was resolved. We also invited the HOA to meet and discuss a peaceful solution before taking further legal steps. It was an opportunity to avoid a lengthy dispute. A week later, Melissa rejected every proposal. The HOA insisted the subdivision had been properly approved and refused to recognize the survey. Instead of negotiating, they announced plans to continue defending their position in court. My attorney filed a lawsuit asking the court to confirm ownership of the land and determine the appropriate legal remedy for the unauthorized construction. Every filing included decades of deeds, tax records, and professional survey reports. The case moved quickly because the facts were well documented. As the lawsuit became public, local newspapers and television stations covered the unusual property dispute. Residents were surprised to learn that the luxury home might have been built on privately owned ranch land. Questions spread throughout the community. Several homeowners privately apologized after reviewing the public property records. They admitted they had trusted the HOA's assurances without independently verifying the boundaries. Many expressed hope that the matter could be resolved fairly. During discovery, the HOA produced construction permits and subdivision approvals. My attorney noticed that none of those documents transferred ownership of my land. Approval to build and ownership of land were two entirely different legal issues. An independent surveyor appointed during the case confirmed the same property boundaries shown in my original records. Two separate professional surveys now pointed to the exact same conclusion. The courtroom battle was about to become much more difficult for the HOA. The courtroom was filled long before the hearing began. Reporters, neighboring ranchers, and curious homeowners waited quietly as both legal teams organized stacks of property records. Everyone knew the outcome could reshape the entire subdivision. My attorney opened by presenting my family's original deed, decades of tax records, and both professional survey reports. Each document confirmed the exact same property boundaries without contradiction. The evidence spoke louder than any opening statement. The HOA's attorney argued that the subdivision had received county approval years earlier. My attorney calmly explained that development approval did not transfer ownership of privately held land. The judge nodded while taking careful notes. The county surveyor testified under oath, explaining how original steel boundary markers perfectly matched modern GPS coordinates. His measurements placed a luxury home entirely within my recorded property. There was no measurable dispute. Then came a surprising moment. Archive planning emails revealed that several HOA board members had questioned the property boundaries years earlier, but chose to continue construction while assuming no one would challenge it. The courtroom fell completely silent. Several homeowners looked toward Melissa with disbelief. They had trusted the HOA leadership to verify every boundary before approving construction. Now they realized the warning signs had existed long before I returned home. After reviewing every exhibit, the judge announced a short recess before delivering the court's decision. Reporters rushed outside, while attorneys quietly prepared for